and welcome back to another season of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm here with my co-host Sid. How's it going, Sid?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Excited about the season.
Good, good.
Really, really excited, to be fair. Um, so let's talk about, well, a couple of days ago, it was announced that there were two players who got their seasonal awards. So Kevin De Bruyne got his Player of the Year award, and Trent Alexander got his Young Player of the Year award. What's your thoughts on that? Is it the right choices, or do you think someone else should be in contention to get those awards?
I think Young Player of the Season award. I don't think you could have really argued that, isn't it? I think
No.
based on what he's done, what he's won,
Yeah.
you could argue, yeah, Mason Greenwood's had a good season. Surprisingly, Rashford, I think he was nominated, isn't he?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, and
Saka
then
had a good into the season as well
yeah,
from
exactly.
Arsenal.
So there was other players, but I think when you look at it, in the grand scheme of things, he did enough to get it. So in that sense, yeah, he deserved it. I always thought Kevin should win it. To be fair, like the main
Yeah.
one. Of course, there's Van Dijk, there's Mane, and all of that. But I think it's fully
And
deserved.
Henderson.
And Henderson, yes, Henderson's there, but he's not my obvious choice. But I get it. So yeah, he's in
Yeah.
contention. But I think Kevin De Bruyne, like, it's fascinating because I was reading in the article where they bring up old, like, where people were just talking about how he's a flop. He spent so much on Kevin De Bruyne. No,
Oh, when he
honestly,
was at Chelsea?
well, you know how Man City spent, what is it, 57 million on him? It's like, oh, they'll come to realize, he's a Chelsea flop. You can't demand that much money. You'll see in a season or two seasons how much they've wasted. And I'm just like, the talent speaks for itself. This guy was bossing in Wolfsburg. Do you see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And basically, I think that he's proved everyone wrong.
definitely.
So I'm quite proud in that sense. What about you? How's your thing?
Yeah, sort of following on to what you just said, I remember actually watching a clip a few weeks ago where I think it was on Soccer Saturday, where De Bruyne was just about to sign for Man City because the
Mhm.
fee was 50 million, I believe, at the time. And I think Thompson was one of the guys. I think Charlie Nicholas was well. They were just basically dismissing it, like kind of what you just said in terms of he was the flop of like the previous season when he was at Chelsea. I don't know why Man City have signed him, like, but it goes to show that just because you're not successful at one club, it doesn't mean you'll do well at other clubs. Like he was very young at the time, similar to Mo Salah as well. When he came to Chelsea, he was a young guy. So,
Yeah.
and they never really got a chance to play. Let's be honest, because at that time, the team was like established. They had the Lampards, the Drogbas, all those type of players. So it was always going to be difficult. In terms of the awards, I can't really argue. To be fair, I think De Bruyne deserves it. I think he's had a fantastic season. And for me, Trent's been head and shoulders above everyone in the league, especially in those fullback positions. So, yeah, no arguments there, to be fair. I think fully deserved. What about the team of the season? Were there any surprises for you in that?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, there's a lot of Liverpool players, but no, it was a good reflection. I think the goalkeeper, I'm not sure, like Nick Pope. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that one. Maybe that was the only one that raised my eyebrows, and I was just like, yeah, he's good, but did he have that much of a standout season? I mean, I don't even rate Edison, but I think he was probably more effective than.
yeah. Well, he ended up getting the Golden Gloves, didn't he? So,
Yeah, Allison was there, even Henderson to an extent. So
yeah, to be honest, don't get me wrong, he had a great season. I think he is kind of silly to say, but I think because he had a better restart when the season restarted, that period of time he did quite well. So I think the panel that decided these votes, they probably just reflected based on the last 10 fixtures rather than throughout the whole season. But yeah, I don't think he would have been my top choice to be fair. I think Henderson's had a fantastic season. Obviously, Allison as well. Allison missed about I think eight games in the beginning, and I think he got suspended once as well. So if you consider those kind of numbers, like he did well to keep that amount of clean sheets, as he played less games than Edison and Nick Pope as well.
Yeah,
And Edison would have been a shout as well, to be honest with you. So I think that certainly raised my eyebrows. David Silva, I wasn't 100% sure, but don't get me wrong, fantastic player, had a good season, but for me, he wasn't like a standout player. I would have probably gone for Fernandez, if I'm honest with you. I know Fernandez joined in January, but he's had such a big impact in United season. Like, let's be honest, I don't think if you guys didn't have Fernandez, you would have ended up where you ended. You wouldn't have got top 4. So,
but do you think?
I feel like he had a big impact. But yeah.
No, I was going to say, do you think Silva was more sentiment as it was his last season?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It was more of that sort of like lovely kind of ending to his career in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you're right, and I didn't even think about this. Like, but when I'm thinking about it, did he have a standout season? I don't think so. You know, so
he's one of those players. He's always consistent. So unless he has like big numbers in terms of assists and goals, like he wouldn't have that kind of clear cut for me. But can't doubt his quality. He's been an amazing player in the Premier League. Fantastic for Man City. So yeah, and now he's at Real Sociedad. So good luck to him for the next season.
That was a shock as well.
Sorry?
That was a shock as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't for me, I thought he might have gone to like into Miami or Lazio, because Lazio, I think Lazio actually thought they had it in the bag.
Yeah.
So their president, I don't remember what exactly he said, but he basically didn't have any kind words for David Silva when it was announced that he's joined Real Sociedad. So yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. I thought he would have gone into like a different league, maybe experienced that. That was a bit of a surprise, man. Also regarding up front, I think Vardy, obviously golden boot winner, and then what do you call it? Vardy, Aubameyang, and it was Mane as well. I think Salah would have. Salah could have. Shout for Salah as well because he's had so many assists and goals. But for me, I think they're all worthy candidates for that team. So yeah, I think the panel got it right, I guess, because there's been like, when they do those monthly team of the month or team of the week, like the choices that you see is just like, come on now. Either you're very biased or you don't actually watch football. So it's like one of those ones. But yeah, what do you think of the transfer window so far? So I've been quite impressed with a lot of teams recruiting because it's like, obviously the current climate right now, you wouldn't expect clubs to sign so much. Chelsea, like I think, like they've won the transfer window, haven't they? The way they signed, it's ridiculous. There's no such thing as financial fair play, is there?
It's mad, and it makes you question. So everything that happened to them 2 seasons ago or last season, they're just like, all right, cool, that's our one slap on the wrist. We might do it again. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make sense how they've effectively spent like close to 250 mil. And they've got how many players? 6 players.
I've got a list here. They've signed 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 players. One of them they loaned back. So they got the defender from France, Saad, who they bought from, I think is Rennes Nice. From that club.
So
they loaned him back. They loaned him back. So for me, out of the signings, obviously Werner's a top striker. But the problem is when you sign too many players, it takes a long time for them to gel. So I'm not expecting it to be where they all fire cylinders like in the next week or so. It's not going to happen. Thiago Silva was a bit of a surprise for me, but I guess when you spend so much money on your attackers, there's not really much in the bank left, is there? So, but 36 coming to the Premier League, me personally, I can't see him making that much of an impact into the season.
I think he'll be similar to like how Bolton used to do it with top class players, and they'll get like the Campos, they'll get the Koches, Hierras, and do Do you see what I'm saying? It's like that. Like, but Chelsea's
Yeah,
obviously a bigger club, so it's not as a shock or surprise. It's more just the age. But
yeah,
I think it's similar to how Laurent Blanc came to United, just to because when you look at Chelsea defence, they're young and they are quite, apart from Rudiger, they are quite inexperienced. Do you see what I'm saying? So I
yeah.
think that he will be good in terms of shoring up the defence.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the shock. But yeah, there are. I think Chelsea have impressed me the most. But like I said, I see it as Tottenham when they sold Gareth Bale
Oh, yeah,
and they got all the players.
yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm
yeah.
sorry, but I can't remember. Was it Lamella? That was the only one that's probably still there now.
Yeah, I think they all got shifted in the end. To be fair, and Lamella for me hasn't really hit the ground running since he's ever joined. Like he's always been like injured quite a bit, so his injury record's not
Mm,
the best. But I agree. I think you have to be impressed in terms of the transfers that Chelsea have done so far in the window. But for me personally, I don't think Lampard's the right man as well. And I think this season, if he's not challenging for the title, he's out the door.
it has to
It's
be.
as simple as that. You can't invest that much money, and just because you're a club legend, that status goes out the window. When your club's failing and not doing well, not challenging for titles, it doesn't matter.
Mm,
So it's a difficult one for him. I think he's gonna. If he thought he was under pressure last year, this is no comparison. He's under the spotlight, as they say. So
yeah.
yeah, I not expecting much, to be fair.
What about Liverpool? You hoping for Thiago?
Yeah, Liverpool's I've probably been more impressed in terms of other clubs signed because my team hasn't signed that many players this year. So the left back that we got, Simikas, to be fair, he's looked good in pre-season, so I'm quite impressed with that signing. We've always needed a left back
Probably.
who's actually naturally left footed. We normally play Milner if Robertson's out of the team and stuff. But yeah, a lot of I think a lot of fans are a bit disappointed in terms of the transfer dealings that we've done so far,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because our policy is sell to buy. So if we're not selling players and making money, we're not actually buying anyone. So that's how we've been linked with Thiago on a daily basis. I'm getting a bit bored of the reports
Mm,
now, to be honest with you. At this stage, it looks like Genie might be leaving and going to Barcelona with Memphis
okay.
joining him as well. I rate Genie. I'm a big fan of his. For me, I don't want him to leave, but if we sign Thiago, it kind of softens the blow. That's the only way I look at it. If we sell him and not replace him, yeah, I'll be fuming. So
Really?
I think our weak, yeah, I think he'll weaken our team because he adds so much stability to the team and the way we play. You can't sell one of your trusted players, and he's never injured. He's always present. So
Mm,
you need that kind of player in your team as well. But yeah, there's still a few weeks left. But yeah, it's. I think fans are getting a bit impatient, to be honest with you. But that's how the transfer window is. You just have to just roll with it. How about your team signing Van der Beek from Ajax? What do you think of the signing?
I'm happy because it's more, it's strength in depth and it's actually
Yeah,
a good. I can't really say squad player because he will play, but he's actually a good
yeah,
option for us. You see what I'm
he
saying?
is.
Like, there's dire days when we had like Lingard and Herrera coming off the bench. Like, we're not going to
Yeah,
do much with those players. You see what I'm saying? And Solskjaer
yeah,
has shown that he's got trust in you, but you have to be exceptional to make that grade. I'm
yeah.
sorry, but most of these kids weren't. Hence, Gomez going, Chong's on loan at Werder Bremen and all of that. So this is a good signing, but if Sancho doesn't go away, there's still talk that
What do
he's.
you think about the Sancho deal? Do you think it's going to happen?
Look, I want it to happen. Whether it does happen, I
Yeah,
don't see it because obviously time's going, and you got to think we did this with Fernandez last year.
yeah,
It will just fizzle out. We can't look how quick it is to get these 40, 50 million deals across the line. So yet we think because it's Corona, we got to
mm,
scrutinise everything. Look, if you want to challenge, like we're
yeah,
not doing a Chelsea where we're buying 8, 9 players, whatever it is. We're buying the right type of players, you know.
yeah,
But because it's a high cost. You have to invest. That's my stance. But if we get him, great. But if not, I would. You probably not think I'm saying this, but I won't be surprised, and I won't be even get upset because I'll just be like, yeah, it is what it is. You see what I'm saying? This is how
Yeah.
they are as the United top people. But yeah, I mean, I think based on that, we could challenge like top three. I know it's not much, but Gary Neville even said it. We're not, even if we do get Sancho, we're not challenging for the league this season. I think it's one season too soon. It'll be next season. This is what I'm saying. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Are there any other signings from other clubs that's impressed you? There's a few that have impressed me, so I don't know if you agree with me. Crystal Palace signing Eze, I think you pronounce it, from
yeah,
QPR. He's a top player.
he looks solid.
Like I watched a few games of him in the Championship last year. The reason I'm impressed with that signing is because I always feel like Crystal Palace are one of those teams that lack ambition, so they don't really go for those type of players. They always go for like the Cahills where their
Buys.
contracts end. Yeah, those free. Yeah, like those players you've never heard of or players out on the verge of retiring. Like this is quite an impressive signing. Uh, and they spent 20 million on the player as well. So
That's good.
for me, that's a good signing. I'm quite excited to see him in the Premier League. Everton signing James Rodriguez. Allen's
Sick.
boss player. He's something else. And the Doucouré as well, box to box from Watford.
Yeah, that's solid, you know.
Yes, that's their midfield for next season. It's not bad.
That's solid. And if someone's saying that it's a stronger midfield than Arsenal and Tottenham's, which didn't go down too well.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. Like, James Rodriguez is a funny one because he hasn't done much since the World Cup when he became a star
Yeah.
in the world of football. But regardless, still a good signing for Everton. I think is literally the sort of the attraction to play with Ancelotti as well. So I think good recruitment on their part. Leeds United back in the Premier League now as well. Rodrigo that they signed from Valencia,
That's mad.
who are going through I think some major financial issues there. Yes, and that's a quality signing as well. Another one is Newcastle signing Wilson, Lewis, and Fraser. I think for a club that don't really spend much money and also don't really recruit much in the Premier League because they tend to go to France and all those other European leagues. I think those are some, especially Jamal Lewis, who I really wanted to join at Liverpool, but Norwich kind of priced us out. That they were just being a bit greedy and they ended up getting the same price that we were willing to offer. So it's a shame on Lewis's part because there were rumors that he was gutted and he really wanted to join Liverpool. He basically cut his holiday short just to make sure he's in the country so he could do medical. Yeah, because it was that close. We made a bid, like we were hoping it would get sealed, but it just never happened. So, but hopefully he has a good season. I rate him quite highly. And Doherty for Tottenham. What do you think about that signing? I think that's the top signing.
That's solid, man. And I think with that, it's just going to go. People, you see, he's not a flash name. And I think it's not getting the recognition that it deserves. But if you see his performances last season, you'd be like, wow, okay. And again, because he was coming from a lesser club, people aren't really singing his praises. But at Tottenham and under Mourinho, I think that's a match made in heaven, because I think Mourinho will give him that guidance and structure to do well.
Yeah, I think he'll do very well there. Very underrated. I think, like you said, because he played for Wolves, he didn't really get the sort of like the kind of popular kind of opinions in terms of how good he is as a player. But coming to Spurs is a great move for him. I don't know if you saw the cheeky video that they posted on their platform where he was deleting his tweets. That was quite funny because he's an actually Arsenal fan. But yeah, I think that's a great. And for 15 million, that's a bargain. Come on.
That's peanuts, man.
Peanuts. So like you're hearing so many random figures for like unknown players. Like that's one of the signings I think that's probably going under the radar, but I think will be proved to be a very big success as the course of the season goes on. So Yeah, I think fantastic signing for Tottenham. So let's do some predictions, Sid. So who do you think will be champion?
United,
Sorry?
United.
Yeah, I can't hear your lines sort of cutting off here. What did you say?
Uh, I think. Oh gosh, how do I say this? It's going to be between you and City for sure.
Yeah. Mm.
I look. I'll be honest. You have to buy because
Yes.
whilst everyone else, your squad, your first team is amazing, but
Yeah.
I think like what others are sharing is that their squad is becoming, it's
Yeah.
going up there. Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I just worry that during the course of the season where you're competing on all fronts and all of this, yes, you've got kids, but if you do sell Genie and then you don't get someone to replace him, like a
Yeah.
Thiago, you
Yeah.
haven't really covered yourselves enough. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Milner's always going to be a good servant, but he's also getting old. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Henderson is injury prone. Not, you know, a lot, but he does get at least one or two
Yeah. He
injuries
does.
in the
Yeah.
season. So that's my only concern. If Klopp doesn't buy more good players, it might be a bit too much for you in the long term. I don't think you walk away with it like you did last season prior to lockdown.
Yeah.
But it'll be very close with you and Man City. That I'm not going to give a prediction because I can't say. I mean, okay, let me say this: if you don't buy, then Man City will win it. If you get
Okay.
Thiago and Genie goes, it's yours again.
Yeah.
It's yours
I
again.
can't argue with that. To be, I think at this stage, if Gini doesn't leave, so let's say the current teams right now, I will still go with Liverpool. I think we have the strongest 11. I think our squad is all right, but the issue here is that we need luck on our side in terms of injuries. If one of our star players gets injured, I think that will have a major
Impact.
impact on our season. Well, Allison got injured, and also Fabinho was injured, who's one of our top performers. So we did have injuries here and there, but if it was a Van Dijk or a Firmino or Salah Mane getting injured, that's especially Mane and Salah. Well, to be fair, even Van Dijk now because we've got three centre backs.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, we have to sign players. For me, I feel like we need a centre back to replace Lovren.
Oh
If
yeah.
Gini needs to leave, for me, it's Thiago or no one else. Like kind of the statement that Pep said when he signed Thiago at Bayern Munich. For me, Thiago is the one that we need in our team. I think he'll make such a big difference. And for me, I feel like we need a wide forward who would play lots of games and also cover Mane and Salah if they were to be injured or if they needed a rest. So we're linked quite heavily with Ismail Assar from Watford. For me, he'd be a great signing. I don't think a lot of fans would. That might be unpopular opinion, but for me, he's just like another Mane in terms of the way he plays. He's so comfortable on the left wing or the right wing, and he scores lots of goals. And he's still a raw talent. So for me, that would be the type of signing. But in terms of predictions, I'm still going my team. I think Liverpool will, but it will not be as comfortable as the last season. I think it'll be very close. I think it'll probably go down to like the last month, the last few fixtures, if I'm honest with you. I think because everyone has strengthened so well this year, is going to be an interesting battle amongst. It's not. I think it'll be Liverpool, Man City, definitely. But I think the Chelsea, the United, would definitely challenge more than they did in the previous season. So that's my choice. What do you think?
I don't. It's funny. I don't actually see Chelsea challenging above Man United or even Arsenal.
Whoa! Not even Arsenal.
No, hear me out. And that's only because it's going to take a while for them all to gel and to be bedded in. And again, I have reservations towards Lampard. If you bought those players and gave them to Pep or Guardiola or Klopp, nobody would even be talking about bedding in and
Yeah.
all of this. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they will know what's needed. They'll see enough in pre-season, and I guarantee you, even if Pep or Klopp bought all those players, there's no way all of them are walking into the team. Do you see what I'm saying? He will
Yeah.
not play Ziyech. Like Klopp will probably not play Ziyech in the first 4 or 5 games. He'll come off the bench, get used to the Premiership. Watch Lampard. He's going to start to play the majority of those kids or those guys on the first day
Yeah.
to make an
Yeah.
impact and show that Chelsea mean business. If they draw and lose, he's going to be like, huh? Like, do you see what I'm saying? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I do think that I can actually see what Arteta's doing with Arsenal. You
Yeah.
know, and I got to give him credit. And he's going about his business quietly. But yeah, I think, Man United will finish third this season.
Yeah.
And Arsenal and Chelsea will be battling for the fourth. As strange as it might sound, but I think Arsenal are slowly turning the corner and the confidence is coming. But yeah, that's just me. That's just my opinion. But yeah.
So what's your official top four?
Okay. Let me go down. So it'll be Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Man City. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Liverpool, Man City, United, and Chelsea. I think it's the same top four at the end of the season. I think United will challenge a lot more than they did. For me, in terms of Chelsea, I think I mentioned earlier on, I think this is too big of a job for Lampard. I don't quite rate him as a top class manager. Like, he's a good manager, but he's not to that kind of level. In terms of Tottenham and Arsenal, for me, don't have enough quality to challenge consistently throughout the season. So I think it'll be the same top four. In terms of relegation, who do you think will get relegated?
I see Aston Villa going down. Unfortunately, I can see Fulham going back down.
Yeah.
Something's telling me, I don't know, maybe it's a hard one, but maybe Sheffield United.
Ooh, okay. That's a
Only,
good shout. All right.
I don't know, this might be a bit far-fetched there, but what they did last season was a miracle.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've got enough to keep up with the rigors of the Premiership and what it demands. You see what I'm saying? Like, look at Leicester, they won the league. That doesn't mean that there's always going to be challenging going forward.
Yeah, that's true.
I think sometimes
even better. Do you remember when Swansea came to the season, to the Premier League?
Yeah.
They had a great first season, then next year they just dropped off because they were a promoted team as well, you know?
Yeah, and I think it happens, but yeah, I mean, I think that maybe Sheffield United is a bit far-fetched, but I'll stick with that. What about you?
That's a good shout, too. I didn't think of it like that. I'm going with, I think, Aston Villa as well. I think they were very lucky to survive relegation last season, and they haven't really recruited. I know they've just signed Watkins from Brentford for I think 32, 34 million, something like that. So I had a great season in the Championship, scored lots of goals, but it remains to be seen if he can, produce that performance or level performance in the Premier League next year. So, but despite that signing, they haven't really strengthened that much for me. I think the key is Jack Grealish. If he's still there, they might have a chance. If he's not, for me, it's a certain. But I still feel like they will get relegated this season. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with Fulham and West Brom. I don't think they have enough to kind of challenge further up the league. I think they'll be fighting for that relegation zone throughout the whole season. Bit of a shame, but like I think Fulham signed a good couple of players. They signed the goalkeeper from PSG, Areola. You know the guy
Is
that
it?
was on loan. Yes, it got announced today. And they got Lamina as well. Remember Lamina from
Yeah,
Southampton?
Southampton. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Really?
got a couple of good players, but for me, it's not enough to be honest with you.
No, that's a good shout with the goalkeeper though, man. Like he's solid.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
but it'd be interesting.
yeah. No, definitely. So that wraps us up today for our preview of the new season. So don't forget to follow us on our social media at Football Tour Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. So thanks for listening, guys, and watching.
Yeah,
And hopefully we'll see you soon
thank
next week.
you,
Hopefully, take care.
thank you guys, thank you.